Pacific Islander or a friend of the community, now is an exciting time for you. We now have 11 members of the state legislature, such as my good friend Paul Fong, the highest in California history. We have 3 members of the President's Cabinet, or Asian Pacific Islander, the highest in our nation's history. And that could not have happened with the help and support of people like you. Many of you have been fighting the good fight for a long time to help us get elected, and it couldn't have happened without the leaders of our community, people such as John Chiang. John has been one of the most brilliant politicians California has ever had. I'm going to tell you a little bit about his career. When he was on the Board of Equalization, he sponsored more bills into law than any other equalization member in the history of California. As a state controller, he stood up to the governor and protected the middle class. And in our current fiscal crisis, 2 Wall Street publications came out and said that our bond rating would have been lower, except for the amazing fiscal management of our state controller, John Chiang. He has saved, through his actions, he has saved each of you money in your own pocket. John is my hero, he is our hero. It is my honor to introduce and welcome John Chiang.
Let me begin by first thanking my dear friend Ted Lieu. As many of you know, the great Ted Lieu is subject to term limits, so he's serving his last few months in the Assembly. So let's all give a loud round of applause to the great Ted Lieu. Let me begin by thanking Apapa and CC for uniting us at this time and at this place. We all know we have a very powerful history, the Asian Pacific American community, in the state we call home, California. In fact, at this very place, we know the extraordinary struggles that miners who came to this country endured. We know the people who lost their lives in building the railroads in the Asian Pacific American community. But as a sign of the great beauty and progress of California and the United States of America, we are all gathered here today to participate in our civic democracy, to exercise our voice, to exercise our vote, and to make sure that we can determine the leadership that will guide our country and our state. So thank you all for being here. As many of you are very well aware, our state has endured extraordinary fiscal challenges for the last 3.5 years. In fact, we had the worst cash crisis in California since the Great Depression. As your state controller, as the people's accountant, you're all very well aware that I took all to task. So I wanted to make sure that your dreams, our dreams, were preserved. Because at the very core, fiscal policy is social policy. If you don't have good sound budgets, if you don't have good cash management, the things that our immigrant forebears came to this country would no longer exist. We have to provide our children a world-class education. We have to make sure that we have access to capital so that small businesses can continue to thrive. And we have to make sure that we move forward on developing a world-class infrastructure. Education, financial infrastructure, physical infrastructure, the 3 elements that move an economy forward. And unfortunately, with the financial struggles, we have regressed. We have taken a backslide. But I have stood up for you during these very, very difficult times. I have brought oversight and transparency to the state's numbers so that all 38 million Californians were forewarned about the fiscal struggle. I will continue to do so. As one of your state's auditors, I have set the all-time record for audit findings. I have taken on an HMO that was overcharging the state of California and the seniors of California $88 million too much a year. I want to protect essential health care for the vulnerable populations and the seniors of California. And then I want to make sure that we take on the outrageous conduct such as we saw in Bell. So I've exposed sure we move forward on our fiscal front. Now, you have given me an extraordinary privilege. Today, I am one of 3 Asian Americans who hold state office, a statewide office in state government. The other 2 Asians are the governor of Louisiana and the lieutenant governor of Hawaii. And my background is that my parents came to this country with very little immaterial resources. They came to this country in the 1950s. My dad tried to learn his 5th language, English. And in 1 generation, you can go from immigrant parents with not many financial resources to having a child hold one of the 8 highest offices in California. Now, I still have a long way to go in my family's eyes. I'm not a medical doctor. However, the blessings that Paul, that Mariko, that the others here who have joined is to make sure that regardless of where you come from, regardless of your faith, regardless of your heritage, regardless of your orientation, the same opportunity that was afforded to me and the others are afforded to every successive generation of California. So I ask all of us in this time of crisis for California that our community, and I mean our community more than the Asian Pacific American community, I mean the California family, come together so we can make sure that we provide again a state that is golden, that is rich, and one that fulfills the promise of every single child and adult in our great state. Thank you very much, and make sure to participate.